Well, now we're live, folks. Okay, here we go. All right, I'll talk to you in a little bit there, Mr. Keith. All right, here you guys go. All right, corporate credit. How you guys doing? Corporate credit blueprint. Hello, again. Hello on Veterans Day. Also want to give a big shout out to the veterans that were in and doing and overseas, whatever they were doing, up from the past to the present moment in time. Like to thank them for everything they've done for our country so we can actually be on here and not be monitored like maybe Facebook does once in a while and whatever. And all those other ones, I don't know why they even try to do that, but that's on them. It's their business. All right. Plus another thing, I want to thank the families that actually went through the motions with their loved ones, especially the ones that were in battle, wondering if things, every time they got a call, they heard the brigade out there or their unit number and didn't know. So I just want to say thank you very much for the families as well for what they went through. So I thank you. Also, another thing, I would like to go ahead and honor all the family and parents, whatever they did, the single parents, that you had to be single parent until they got home. And for those of you that are actually going through some rehabs, whatever you're doing, thank you again. This is a great honor that you folks, whatever you did. And I'm going to tell you this, do not worry about life itself. You know what to do. You know what to pray. It'll always be there for you. And on top of that, you have people like us out here that you might not hear us, but we are on your side. Also, another thing, if you are a veteran and you decide to sign up with Corporate Credit Blueprints, we have special things for you folks because of the fact you've honored our country to allow us to go ahead and do this. So thank you very much again. The man or woman that whatever you did and whatever you had to do, however you had to stretch, whatever you had to make it work. And for those who've been there 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, made it a career, we'll be here with you. We'll be here to work with you. And we're excited to work with any veteran to go ahead and have them become whatever they wish and whatever they dream. All right, so let's begin. First thing I want to talk to you folks about is a few other things is this. Corporate Credit Blueprints, I had some conversation with some people this week, and there's some things that come up which I wanted to go ahead and go over with you. So one of them is going to be is I want to talk to you about starting a new business entity. All right. Now, a new business entity is this. In the COVID-19 environment, there are a lot of people who are trying to form a new business or operate an existing business remotely. That's perfectly fine. But again, do you have your corporation and the corporate credit working and begin to set up? Today, we have a couple of people, well, several people. We have one person that's just beginning out to get some credit. He got an instant credit online, which means instant approval. It was for a gas card for, a certain amount of money. I'm gonna just tell you, it's over $1,000 for sure. And on top of that, he's working on a few more to go ahead and get his cards now, like he's working forward towards. Once we get 4 or 5 cards, and we can start applying for different cards. Then we have 8 cards, 10 cards. Once we get into the 14 cards, excuse me, folks. Once we get into 14 cards, then there's a Visa, MasterCards, American Express cards. Also, another thing, this is what I've said to you before. I've said it in many of the trainings I've been with you folks. Is one of these is this. People don't understand that you have a history, and some, excuse me, folks, again. I don't know why I got a little tickle in my throat, but I do. It's not no cold. So anyways, the thing is that we are able to prove everything we say to Dun & Brad. You never want to lie to them. Not even a small white lie. If they catch you, you'll have your company flagged. You don't want to do that for all the work you've been doing. There's a gentleman today that he was able, I asked him some things because he said, how do we used to have a company before? So I asked him some questions. He dug in. He realized he had it since 2006, if I remember correctly. He had some other things. He was an independent contractor for some other business and also home businesses as well, all rolled into one. So when he incorporated newly, he rolled all those into divisions. He's going to start setting them up pretty soon, but not quite yet. But the thing is, he was able to go back to Dun & Brad, update his Dun & Brad, and he had the information to give them if you really had to prove it. Because once they ask you and you can't prove it, you're done. Done. So he updated his information and he got his Dun & Brad approved. He got the year of 2000, I think it's 2006, he had it approved. Don't quite quote me on the thing, but I believe it's 2006. But one of the things I want to let you know is that now 2006 and this is 2020. So what's that? Isn't that 14 years? Now he has a history of being in business for 14 years because it's true. A lot of you, when you set up your business, you're thinking about when they say years in business, they ask you years in business. They do ask that question. But they're not asking you years in business, what you're up to, or it's the same business. They just want to know the years in business you've been in business. That's what they're looking for. So what I want to go ahead and begin to let you know is that your information, that if you don't realize that it is true, the thing is that you will get hammered. But if you know you can back it up with a business license, an old business account, tax ID, whatever, if you can prove that you once had a business doing this back then, you can answer that question on the Dun & Brad. This is the reason why I say it's so important to be in the class. Those of you that are with other companies, they don't tell you this stuff. And how you do it is another story. I'm just giving you the real basic information. I'm not going to, of course, give you all the details, what you need to do. Now, you can say you can figure it out, but okay, there's not a problem with that. That's why I keep telling people out there, if you know, I know how to daisy chain, and there's one other person knows how to daisy chain. Those of you that signed up for business credit, which means you signed up to do the business credit for the 0% from 6 to 18 months. You did the hybrid program, whatever program they call it now, okay? From $30,000 to $150,000. This is what I keep telling you. And I keep repeating it over. I'm going to keep drilling it in until my phone rings off the hook and say, okay, great. I'm tired of hearing it. What do I got to do? You could turn that $150,000 into $1.5 million. And if you mentally can't handle that, that's on you. It's not on us. We know what to do. And also, as you begin to get your cards, some of you new people, you're going to feel the excitement because guess what? The approvals were not guaranteed. There's the only time I ever really tell you guarantee something if you're going to get something really beneficial out of it. For instance, if you do the hybrid program, you will get something beneficial out of it. But before you do that, I make you aware that you're going to be personally guaranteeing those. You're going to be left on the hook if you don't start taking action that once you get approved. And then once you receive those hot little cards in your hand, from that day forward, you best start planning your exit strategy out of those cards. So the cards can be based just solely on the corporation itself. And then you want to be able to learn how to daisy chain that money so you can go ahead and take $150,000 and turn it to 1.5 million. And if you mentally, again, can't stretch your mind that, how can that be possible? That's perfectly fine. I'm just going to be straight with you. I don't deal with people like that because that's an environment. Just because you never heard it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, okay? Another thing is this. Those of you that are real smart rats, I call them, you might be in a smart rat in the arena in life that you're in, but you wouldn't be building your corporate credit the way you're building your corporate credit, sloppy. And I'm going to be straight, sloppy, which means you get it. You're doing business on the front line with the corporation you're building corporate credit to or an LLC to it. Guess what? You're still killing yourself because of the fact you're still the sitting duck, because guess what? You're going to learn that you're going to pierce your own veil by what you do, especially if you don't have the credit separate, which means in one entity itself that builds a credit and then moves it to other areas in the corporation. But you've got to begin to understand the structure. Why do you think the big companies out there, why do you think you always, the ones out there are kind of like, how come, why are some of the people prospering in COVID-19? I'm going to tell you, if you know how to build business credit, you won't starve during COVID-19 or COVID-20 or COVID-21 or COVID-5000. It doesn't really matter. Just remember, in the early 1900s, remember the Spanish flu? It just ripped through the country. It ripped through the military. Go back and do your history. They didn't have it. How did those people make it? Think about it. Dig, dig, dig. Go to history and see the Spanish flu wiped out more people than the COVID-19, and we are in a current environment that we have a society that's supposed to be able to go ahead and develop something, and it's taken them this long. Please give me a break. All I want to tell you is this: building corporate credit will save you and your environment. I mean, my heart goes out to these people that have businesses that are closing when they could possibly get some money from the government, because some people, we have places to show them where to go and operate. Even if you have a business score of even if you have a personal score of 500, they can still do something for you and your business as long as you have proof the business is making money. They don't go off your score. They go off the business making money, which means this: if it's making money when it's in business, you can use that. They give you relief. What are you going to do with $75,000, $80,000 or $50,000, $45,000? That would do a lot to help you get through. And then it's called the PPP, the protection plan. I don't care if you say, well, I'm just only 2 people. If you were in business before the COVID started, you're in the game. You're in the game. Okay. Also, we're not here to be your attorney. We're not here to be your financial consultants. We're not here to be your IRS information center. We're not here to give you any other advice other than consulting the fact of the stuff that we have done and the stuff we are doing and the new stuff we've done. And every day, I was talking to one of the clients today, I tell them, we always look for certain companies to get certain things tonight. And tonight, I'm going to tell you where to go, but I'm not going to give you the link. You have to do a little digging yourself. If you want the link, show up on Wednesday where I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you this is one place. If you just started your business and have a tax ID, you have a phone number that's listed, and you have a Dun & Brad, and you have your checking account, not even a website yet, you have those things. Again, you have a tax ID, you have your DUNS number, you have your bank account, and you have your 411, your phone number listed. You will get approved here. And the key thing is, that's why I tell people, as soon as you get your tax ID, get that phone number in the book. Get that phone number in that book. As soon as you get that tax ID, get that 411 listed, and then go get your bank account, because that's going to be one of your most important things. Get a phone number where you can forward it to your cell phone. I'm going to tell you, this is how we answer our phone. We answer our phone corporate offices, one on the cell phone. Why? Because of the fact eventually you're going to be managing more than just one outfit. That's why it's called corporate offices. Also remember, there are some of the information about tax consequences are both. So here are some information about the tax consequences coming up next page. Boom. All right. If you're forming a business entity, I hear a lot of people conversations about using the internet to cheaply form an entity without the use of an accountant or a lawyer. That's what, if you want to do that, that's fine. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. How we do it, because of the fact I've been doing it since, again, 1985, so I'm a few days older. The thing is, I can set it up, and I know what to do and not to do, and it's not really that hard. Now, eventually you are going to need an attorney, which is about, well, I pay right now $125 a year just to go ahead and have the attorney saying that they are now, if anyone ever wants to see our corporate books, I say I have a work in progress corporation, call my attorney. When they call him, of course, then that's when it's going to start. But that you don't have to, you still get the protection. You take your thing to your lawyer every year. He asks you to have your meeting. He'll ask you questions, basic stuff that we teach you. I'm not saying that we're lawyers. I'm just telling you what we have done and what we do and what I've learned from lawyers. And you're going to find out lawyers know nothing other than how to set up a corporation. Well, you can set up a corporation the way you want. You can set it up nice. You can set it simple, but they do not know anything about building corporate credit. I have a lot of clients that come to me and tell me, hey, I had my lawyer set it up, but they don't know anything about corporate credit, yada, yada, yada. And neither does an accountant. What are you going to say? An accountant, here's what an accountant can do. They can account for your numbers. Liars can figures, but figures don't lie. And that's all you're looking for. The beautiful thing is that if you want to go ahead and use an accountant, you might not need it right away in the first 2 years if you're starting up. For some of you that have started up and you know your books are all messed up, go get it cleaned up. Here's the beautiful, you better get it cleaned up now, because I tell you, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Biden and the Trump situation, but if Biden gets in, you best watch out. I would get your books cleaned up now. Whatever you owe, what a business owes, go on a beg and pleading program. And on top of that, remember, debt follows tax ID. We'll talk more about that later. But you want to get everything cleaned up now. What's so great, though, about corporate credit, debt follows tax ID, as I talked about. Another thing is this. You want to begin to understand is that building corporate credit is not going to change between now and even if Biden or Trump's in, because it's a system that's set up for them to have it work so they can hide the money they hide. Because a lot of people, I know this is not getting political. I'm just giving you facts. And I need fact checkers out there. Please go ahead and fact check us and go and then come to our info at corporatecreditblueprints.com, info at corporatecreditblueprints.com, and email the fact check to say, hey, yeah, it is correct. But fact check this. Fact check this point. What happens to the funds and the money that all these senators and Congress people have generated for them to go ahead and use for the campaign? Where does their campaign money go to? I wonder. Tax ID. What happens if they change the tax ID to another tax ID to another business and move the money there? But no one ever asks that. How come the media doesn't ask for that? Hello? Fact check and see how it goes. It's done very elegantly, and it's also available to you if you know what to do. Got to do everything correct. That's why I say an accountant and a lawyer only know how to set up a corporation. And then if you want to get clever, which means clever means you alert the IRS to look at you. But if you want to use the IRS rules that they have in their own book, then they'll leave you alone. And that's the kind of a lawyer you want to have on your side that will go ahead and just use the rules from the book, not get clever. All right. So there have always been interesting comments for me to hear because the risk is so great. The risk of being great means this. When you form your own corporation, I like C corporations, and I'll explain to you why later. But I like C corporation because you have way more protection, and you'll see it soon. But one thing about this you want to begin to understand is that when you go to an attorney will set the book up, and attorney will never give a guarantee. Why don't they give you a guarantee? Because they can't. Because they're not. Again, I know I harp on this. I'm just waiting for someone to please fact check it. Even walking. You know what? And let me tell you how I know what I'm going to say. I went one time and paid the attorney 1 hour for his time, $275 an hour for his time back in the late 80s and 90s. Okay. I asked him, show me this, show me that. You have a right to ask him. So I'm thinking about hiring you for this. He was a corporate attorney. I'm thinking about hiring. So where's this? He showed me his bar information. He showed me past his bar. Whoopie-doo on the wall. I said, I want to see the license from the state. I want to see the license that the governor signed. I want to see the license like a doctor has, like a chiropractor has, like a dentist has. Even a masseuse has to have a license, or a real estate agent or a real estate broker signed by the state. Couldn't show me one. I said, so then how do you practice law legally without a license in the state? Well, we got a whole other conversation. On top of that, some of you go look up the bar association in each state, or pick any state you live in the state you live in, check the bar association, and you're going to find out it's either suspended or it's not paid. It's not current. Go look, take a look. Most of them aren't. Take a look, then ask yourself, why aren't they? How come they don't have to be? All I'm going to tell you, when you hire a lawyer, you've got to understand what you're hiring. And then when you hire an attorney, you got to understand where you're placing all your trust at. You want to begin to look at those things. Those are so important. This is what I really have a hard time getting through, I guess, to people, because I had a hard time in the beginning myself when I heard this way back when. but I did, you keep digging. And I eventually, I had the money and I started paying. Like I said, I paid one attorney and eventually I did it 3 years later, paid in another attorney. It's the same thing. It's the same answer. I don't mind paying for $500 an hour to go ahead and have them tell me and have them fumble. And these are supposed to be high power falutin people. Please, they will be scared once you begin to find out the situation. And it's not that you can't go ahead and use them. You just have to know what you're giving up. And I'm not going to tell you what you're giving up yet. So I want to make sure this is very interesting. That's why I say I will only use a corporation for a corporation. I will only use an attorney for a corporation. Why? Because they can actually do you some good in that arena. All right. There are other arenas they can't, but that's a whole nother conversation. Now, the primary reason for forming an entity for most people is to protect oneself, especially against lawsuits by overzealous lawyers pursuing frivolous claims, or you get going into business and all of a sudden it just, like, for instance, COVID-19. Who was really prepared for this? The ones who were prepared for this are the ones that had their corporate credit established or established enough to go ahead and okay, great, they know what to do when the wave's coming. So you've got to have an organization that's going to teach you, because the wave is always coming. It will always come. Do you think this is the end of COVID-19? Do you think remember, there's bugs in the world that eventually will mutate and then it goes to something else. You've got to prepare yourself through the business corporation to go ahead and realize the wave is coming, and not like a scared rabbit saying, oh my God, the sky's falling. No, prepare, be ready, always be ready. It's like this. You got to be on post. You got to post up. You got to be on guard 24/7, 365. And that means when you're relaxing, you know that someone else is taking care of you. That means when you see a wave coming, you don't run, you run to it and you handle it, because you know debt follows tax ID. You know debt follows a DUNS number. You know debt follows business experience. You know debt follows business Equifax. You just know these things so you don't panic. You don't bring the pain home. Also, another thing, if that is a motivation, then it would seem to me that your highest priority would be to make sure that you have a competent business lawyer form the entity to make sure that all of the mundane formalities were carefully followed. If not, the business entity can be pierced and your personal assets placed at risk. Now, this is what I'm telling you. Listen to me real carefully. I'm not here to be your attorney. I'm only going to tell you things from experience. I also can tell you things that we have done and things we are currently doing. No, like mystic, hopeful, wishing, rolling the dice. Hey, guy, we rolled the dice today. This happened. No, you can set your corporations up with no problem. As long as you know what, you got to have your meetings. And this is what we go over. This is the stuff I've been going over with years with attorneys. I actually have a cost of all the years since 85 till now that I spent just going over attorneys. It's the same thing. They all say the same thing. They're all going to say the same thing to you. Well, I can't really tell you this because we really don't know what's going to go on. Well, can you guarantee me that? Well, when nothing's guaranteed, they're going to give you all that nonsense talk. Why? Because they're not licensed. If they were licensed, they can go ahead and say, in other words, they have a license? No. Do they have the bar card that allows them to practice law? Yes. And allows them to practice it in the court because the court says it's okay. All right. I'm going to tell you, another thing is, if you get really great at it, you can take the bar and walk into a chamber and have a conversation with a judge. Can I practice law in your court? And he can allow it if he wishes. It's up to them. You guys understand something? This is a whole nother game world you're getting into. And corporate credit's your best way to understand this. Why? Because building a corporation is not that hard. People say double taxation. You know what double taxation is? Get to bet you don't. Fact check this one too. Fact check this, please. Double taxation is when they pay dividends. And to you, let's say you work for a corporation, they pay you dividends, and then you get taxed on the dividends, and the corporation gets taxed on the dividends again. That's all what double taxation means. Doesn't mean the corporation gets double taxed on it. You just don't pay dividends, and you won't be taxed on the dividends then. Find other appropriate ways that you can pay what the IRS says you can do. All I'm going to tell you is this. Attorneys do not understand how to build corporate credit, and they don't understand a lot of other stuff other than, okay, great, you made a contract, you did this, you did that. All right, yeah, you pierced your veil because you did this. Yeah, piercing your veil is also kind of goofy. You can't use a corporate account to go ahead and pay any of your personal bills. If you do, you just pierced it. Also, that's why I'm saying you've got to regulate your whole thing. That's why we keep having you go look and go look and go look for what we've done. What's a perk package? You're allowed to have a perk package. You're allowed to go ahead and be employed. You're allowed to be hired by the organization that you formed. You're allowed to fill out a business application. An employment application with a resume. You're allowed to be hired and be on payroll through ADP payroll to show that you are on payroll, that you have no hands on the IRS, Fed tax, state money, Medicare money, nothing whatsoever. This way, whoever writes a payroll check is the one that's going to be accountable for it. Whoever writes and signs that paycheck will be accountable. So I'd rather have an outside party called, I like ADP. I've been with them for a long time. I like ADP payroll. And I tell you what, they sign the checks. When you get the checks for your employees, guess what? Any money missing, you can point the finger and say, it's over there at ADP. Go get it. But if you want to do it yourself, go right ahead. But I promise you, you won't like the results. You're going to learn about not piercing your veil. Also, piercing your veil, another thing, this is like a real slippery slope. This is why I keep saying this. When you're building corporate credit to one company, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, fat chance of happening. Well, guess what? I promise you, if Biden gets in, he's going to do the same thing Obama did. He signed a rule in 2007, go get all the mom and pop mortgage companies and hang them. And guess what happened? That's what they did. I promise you that's going to happen. If you do this, if you build corporate credit and in the beginning, okay, you might get some little leeway, which means in the beginning means 9 to 18, 24 months tops. You best move all that business that you're building into that one entity into other areas. Just have the one company, the mother company building business credit, and you're going to understand about daisy chaining and why it's so important. Then it makes it tougher for them to pierce that as well. There's reason. See, there's structures. Now, I did learn that when I'm telling you from an attorney long ago that this is in 85, 86, 89, 90, 91 is when I learned it. The guy was in his 80s, but he was good. He knew this stuff. He said, look, you got to do this because this is what they'll do if you don't do this. There's all kinds of good stuff, all right? So I just want to let you know, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just something to be aware of your surroundings. And this is why I'm telling you, corporate credit blueprints, we just don't go ahead and tell you, build your credit. Oh, yeah, you're going to build your credit, but also we're going to give you a heads of protection to go check. Again, we're not here to be your attorney. We're not giving you attorney advice. We're not here to be your IRS guide or guru, whatever it is. We're not here to be your financial consultant. We're not even to be here to go ahead and tell you what to do. We are only guiding you and consulting you what we do. All right. And I'm going to tell you this, what we do has been thoroughly tested and it's been experienced. Believe me, it's been experienced. That's why most people don't realize a resolution is the biggest thing that can save your wazoo. All right. It'll save your wazoo and save your assets. Okay. So with that said, let's move on to the next story. Here's another thing after this now. Business credit benefits. The benefits of business credit, it allows you to go ahead and fulfill the dreams you're wishing for. You get it out of from the wishing state to the building state to now the state it begins to show up. People start getting the approvals and then they start getting the cards in the mail. Once they start getting the cards in the mail, then we start showing them how to go ahead and create and daisy chain. And it shows them what kind of power they have with it because there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. A lot of stuff. Now, those of you that didn't sign up for the other class, we have a sign up coming again. And we'll have also we never really did a pay page, but we're gonna have the pay page ready this week. This week, we need to have it ready. I hope my tech guy hears that. This week by Friday, we want to have it ready. Why? Because there's some stuff we're gonna offer you that it's off the chart. And on top of that, no one else is, well, excuse me. There's only one other person that could be offering it, and that's about it. Like I said, we're not here to be any of your consultant. We're here to have you. Your consultant means we're not here to be your attorney. We're not here to be your licensed, what do you call it, financial planner. We're not here to be your accountant or a CPA, Chicken Pluckers Association, they call it. I don't know. They have all kinds of names, like USC, University of Spoiled Children. All right. So all these things, there's a lot of business benefits to you, and we show you how to protect yourself by setting it up properly. This is what we do. This is what we got it by the, everything I'm showing you is what we've already paid for by attorneys and by experience. We've years back when we first started, we pierced it. We had it pierced, got pierced. Why? Because we didn't know. Then we went to attorney and talked about this. Oh yeah, it's always after the fact. In fact, one of the things we had with the EDD, man, you got to understand, you want to mess with nobody's money. Nobody, even though 401k, I rather have an outside source manage it. So if you have a 401k for your people, they can't come after you because they handle it. You don't have nothing to do with it. So that's the beautiful thing, understanding about that. You just want to handle the business money. And on top of that, what if I tell you there's a certain piece of paper? Now, this is learned from experience too, folks. Learn from a secret piece of paper, which I'm not going to name the name of it. The paper itself will go ahead when you deposit money into the bank. It also, when you set the bank account up, you give them this paper and it says any business money or any money deposited into the business account is not of a personal nature. And the person that signs up the account is not accountable for the taxes due from the company, even if the company doesn't file against it. Once you submit that and they take it, it's over because you're not. And also, it also says it's not there of a personal nature. That is only strictly business money being deposited. And you get paid either by payroll or however you guys decide to get paid. But you never want to go ahead and commingle, mix, or anything money in that arena. Why? Because it is the death. But if you don't, there's nothing you can do to you. And once you put that particular paperwork in with the paperwork and sign when you take the bank, this is why we go over packaging. Packaging is so important. People don't think so, but you're going to find out packaging is going to be your best friend. And also when you daisy chain, I'm telling you, it is just awesome. Here's another thing most folks don't understand. This one right here. Type of entity. Oops. Type of entity. The choice of an entity is too complex to address in this brief article, which is true. This is best left up to a conference with tax advisors, all right? Tax advisors mean people that understand the tax laws, which means could be your accountant. Also, you go on the IRS and IRS website and read. I promise you, you can't sleep at night. In 5 minutes on the IRS website, you will fall asleep. But still, you want to know this, not blindly. However, how do I want to make, I just want to make one comment here. When I ask people what kind of business entities they have, the vast majority of them tell me, oh, I have an LLC. And they say it's a limited liability corporation. And I said, what? Okay, the answer reflects a fundamental lack of understanding of what they have. Folks, this is what I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to suggest it. I'm going to preach it. I'm going to preach from the pulpit. I'm going to preach from the mountains. I'm going to preach from the airplanes on this. An LLC is simply a limited liability company, period. That's it. It doesn't say anything about whether it is taxed as a corporation, partnership, or an S corporation election. Tax consequences vary dramatically between the entities. See, this is why I laugh. All these gurus out there telling you on YouTube to go ahead and, oh, don't worry about it, get an LLC and get your business credit card here. These are guys that are telling you on the business side to go ahead and do this. And some people even on the corporate side are telling you this because people don't want to deal with. Here's the thing. Do you realize it's easier having a C corporation? There's not that much paperwork. Yeah, when you like Microsoft, there is paperwork. So get over yourselves. A C corporation is one of your best things if you're willing to sit down and just follow some steps. I'm going to tell you there's 10 steps, but there's a few more. But 10 steps, you follow 10 steps every year, once a year. And there's one piece of paper, again, I'm not going to tell you about this is what I'm not going to give. I will not give until you actually sign up with us. That piece of paper will get you through the whole year without having any other meetings except for a few other things, except for two things, actually. And that's it. And if you don't have that paperwork, you're going to have a meeting every time. But there's one piece of paper that will get you through the whole ball of wax. Now, the tax consequences do vary dramatically between these entities. Now, you notice they're called entities. Key word. Now, the reason why I'm having this conversation tonight, because I had several calls in the last 2 weeks since we got the free training going on. I want to what's this, what that. I can't really tell you the consequences of the corporation. I just can tell you the benefits are of a LLC. There's no comparison to a C Corp. A C Corp, man, has more power than the LLC. All right. And the tax consequences on the LLC is huge. That's all I can tell you. You've got to go ahead and fact check this yourself. Again, we're not here to be your CPA or an accountant. We're not here to be your attorney. Go ahead and pay an attorney to ask them how to build corporate credit, and they tell you can't. They'll tell you, oh, that's not true. They'll tell you, you know what if I told you you can go ahead and get up to $50,000 with no tax returns, with tax ID only? Oh, he'll tell you no. I'm going to tell you guys they don't understand. They need to stay in their lane. All right. They're not even 100. They're minus 100 with you. All right. You're never going to find, I only found 1 or 2 that were really straight with me about something one time. And they say, this is this and this is that. And if you can read and understand, you know what the answer is already. I say, great. Thanks. You're the first one to ever be honest with me. And he said, they don't have time to play games with people's lives. There's a few attorneys like that. They don't really care about you. They care about that old green machine. All right. Now, it does not, in other words, just forming an LLC does nothing more than create a limited liability. It does nothing as regards to tax consequences. For that, you need an accountant to help you work through that selection process. Special elections must be made to reflect the proper determination, which is the S Corp, or else the IRS will do it for you. Now, if you want the IRS to do it for you, it has a right to deal with the entities the way it wishes. Now, this is the reason why I talk the special form you have up front before you have. Remember, intent is the most powerful thing to have. Whoever's first to show intent usually wins or usually prevails. Here's what this is our personal advice or coaching to you. I advise my clients who want to transfer assets to a business entity. I always include, you want to always include at least an attorney for that, for drafting their account to handle that. I recommend you do so as well, which means if you want to go ahead and remove assets from one entity to another, then you want to get an attorney to do it, or at least an attorney to go over the piece of paper that will go ahead and do that for you, to give the blessings. So, and here's the thing. I'm going to tell you this straight up. I have 250 special pieces of paper. I paid each one of them on an average. I'm just averaged them out, $225 for each one of those. All right, which took them maybe an hour to go ahead and do. Each one of those, as I compared over the years, the language is all the same. The language is all the same, other than the different changes. So now I just use what I have because it's the same language. Now, if we're not certain, guess what I suggest? I tell the team, hey, let's take this one to their attorney, make sure we got it tight. Sometimes say it's over tight, loosen it up. That's weird to hear, but okay. So I'm just giving you this to let you know. But here's one thing people don't tell you. I'm going to tell you this. If you're really so in love with an LLC, you got to have it. Well, guess what? This is what I was coached by an attorney. Okay. I'm going to give you what I paid $750 for 2 hours. Is if you really want an LLC, develop the C Corp first and have the C Corp create the LLC. But that's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what goes with it to protect yourself. He says, do the C Corp first and have the C Corp create the LLC and have the C Corp become the managing member. That's it. That's all you're getting. You want? Join us, because I'm telling you, that's what we give. We give you information that works. We're not, and fact check that one too, you fact checkers. I love it because everything we say can be fact checked and Googled to death. I love you fact checkers out there. In fact, you are my best friends. It's almost like having a paralegal. I love it. All right, next one. Here we go. All right, you're going to learn about Social Security number 1040s, how to build credit. On your personal side, there's a great guy that I do like working with. I call him Mike. He likes it. He's real good at what he does. The only thing is, there's some things he talks about business stuff that I just leave him alone on it, but I just kind of bite my tongue on it. Anyways, also the SS4, the 1120. This is what you want to learn. You want to learn how to use this SF4. You want to learn it so well that you will never bring the pain home again, because you'll do everything correctly that needs to be done. Debt follows tax ID, just like a social security number. Once you jack it up, it's going to take you a while to go ahead and get it fixed. Here, at least this, what if I told you that, let's say you had a business going on. Now the COVID-19 came into play and it kind of hurt your business, and you just don't have, you can actually start the business over, but you're trying to start the business to save it. What if I told you there was a way to start your business newly and save some of the good pieces from the old business and move it to the new business and get that history to the new business from the old business, because you kept paying those bills good. And the other ones, guess what? You had to go write it off or bankrupt, whatever you did. All I'm going to tell you, folks, even when you lose, you learn how to win. That one cost me $2,500 to learn it from an attorney. I'm telling you, they only know how to do certain things. Now, the reason why it was $2,500, it was a New York attorney that did a lot of business for a Fortune's 500 companies. I'll have another one for you soon, which we call a daisy chaining. I learned that from another place, that man almighty. All right. $10,000, 10 grand. I'm just going to tell you, folks, this stuff is no joke. This is what the gurus out there don't tell you. I'm not a guru. All I am is someone that went through the pit, been spit on, booed on, dirt thrown on top of me, kicked off stage, however you want to say it. I just want to let you know is this: everything we're showing you, we've done, and we're doing it. And we tell you, fact check it. Go ahead, pay the price it'll cost you for an attorney to understand it. Only a few attorneys out there understand what that means. Tax ID is very powerful when you know how to use it and structure it. Now, of course, you can never have intent to do fraud in any way, shape, or form. If so, I will testify you if you're in our group and you do something goofy like that, because you don't have to do anything goofy. You can do everything by the book and still come out winning. Here's another thing about tax IDs no one understands. Even if it's an LLC that has a tax ID, even the unincorporated ones, I'm telling you folks, the unincorporated is the bomb. Let me tell you why it's the bomb. Because you get to begin like the big boys, because you have a tax ID, you have a DUNS number, you have, the 411, all the stuff that needs to be done that you have to do with all the other stuff. Okay, do it the same way. But in 9 to 18 months, you have business credit, so now you can set up the corporation properly. And if you want an LLC and you really want one, you have the corporation set up the LLC with the special papers that you need to make sure that you will not get bit. Okay? These are the things that they don't teach you. They teach you how to go ahead and get in trouble. We're telling you stuff so you can go check, because we're only here to consult you. We can't tell you to go. I can just tell you, go check and go check this. There is one attorney that's been around for 40 years that I didn't put in here because I have to get his permission to go ahead and use his name, at least, and his phone number and his website. He's pretty good, but he's expensive. He's expensive. But he doesn't really like taking small stuff. Like, he doesn't like doing resolutions. I'm talking complex stuff. Let me give you a complex. What if I told you? What if I told you, you real estate smarty pants out there? They think you're so smart. How about this one? Listen to this one, folks. What if I told you, if you found, I don't know, let's say $2.5 to $5 million small units, and it happens to be owned by a mom and pop that's an LLC? What if I told you there was a way to appropriately move the debt over to where it gets reported to another business. Now that business is able to go ahead and do some things with that, with the bank, and then they're able to go ahead and refinance it because the debt now belongs to another company, and the people that were on the loan are part of that business, part of it, because you got to move them over legally. They have to follow it until you refinance. So let's say you structure it in a certain way that now everybody wins, because the debt service itself, the bank's not looking at the company for the debt service. You're looking for the building and unit to debt service. So even if you're, I always use this number. If you can debt service the business at 80 to 85%, you're going to have a winner. I know it's a little less than that, but we go a little higher because you just never know. But I'm going to tell you, there's a special way to do that. And you've got to know how to use tax IDs to do those things. This is not made up stuff. If you really know, you're going to have you'll have a challenging time fact checking it, but there's one other person that does this, and there's only a handful on your hand that actually know how to do it. And we're one of them. Now, this one, I just don't teach. I'm just giving you a taste. I don't teach out in the open. This one, not at all. I just gave you a tidbit. This one gets taught after you have your 24 months in and you have at least $1 million worth of corporate credit, because you want your corporation well established in the financial arena. And I'm telling you, you can walk away with some good properties this way, but you've got to be willing to go ahead and pay for the cost, because the course and the coaching is not cheap, but the rewards for you are great. So with that said, let's move forward. Oop, backward, forward. All right. Oops. Make sure you get a DUNS number, folks. Make sure you get a DUNS number. Dun & Brad from Dun & Brad, okay? The DUNS number, folks, is real important. Your DUNS number is real important. All I can say is what Dun & Brad, remember, debt follows Dun & Bradstreet as well. Develop your trade credit. Your trade credit is going to get you your vendor credit. Your vendor credit is going to get your business cards. Your business trade credit is going to get you the Visa MasterCards. And it's going to get your fleet pricing in your card. When we get to the tier 4, tier 5, you have 14 items reporting. And the thing is, what someone now is beginning to, most people that are in the training right now understand this part. There's certain places we send you so you can get 3. If you start up at 1,000, you get 2,000. By the third month, you're at $3,000 that you have available in credit. Now, when that reports, you get higher cards and higher limits. We're all about getting higher limits. As long as you're making the bill payments, the higher limits are fine. Here's one thing I really push for is we like to get revolving eventually. Revolving is your best friend. So develop your trade credit. So all I want to say here is tonight is this. Folks, you're awesome. I want to thank you for hearing and listening to the rhetoric and the mantra of all the things about attorneys. I have nothing against them. What I have against is that they don't tell the truth. They don't tell the facts. They try to skate around it. And then when you, now I paid one attorney one time, $3,200 for 2 hours. It didn't last that long, but I still left the money there because I brought all the necessary documents in the state that he was in. I brought information. You can find anything you want. I even hired a PI to go ahead and make sure I wasn't off track. So I hired a PI to do this. I brought all the paperwork in from his schooling. I now brought in the stuff from the bar. But one thing we couldn't bring in, and the PI says they don't have a license. I said, great. He even did an affidavit, and we recorded the affidavit in the county recorder's office saying they don't have a license from the state. And it's been, a few years now. What I'm going to do is probably end up doing it again at the beginning of next year. Here's the deal. I'm not afraid of them. What I'm worried about is they lie to you and they don't tell you the truth. Go fact this last piece for yourself. The minute you sign up with an attorney, you're giving up your right and you're saying you're incompetent to handle your own personal affairs. Just remember this. This is what they told us long ago. Okay, great. I've been doing this since 1985. I'm going to tell you, it started back in 1972. Go fact check this, you guys, especially you millennials. Go ahead and fact check. I love the younger ones because you're so adamant. You're gonna find out. I love it. Unturn the stone, please. You'll be my best friend forever. In fact, those you fact check that, can we get the email, the info@corporatecredit.com, at corporatecredit.com, at corporatecreditblueprints.com, info@corporatecreditblueprints.com. When I fact check it and you give me and you show it, I will promise you I'll email you back with a discount that you can sign up with us, because you are fact checking. I like people to fact check. Why? Because it just makes stronger what we're telling you, and you can begin to realize a lot of the other guys don't tell you this out there. There's nothing wrong with what they're giving you. They're giving you the easy front line because they don't want to really have you worry. Some of you don't even know this exists, which is fine. I don't care if it scares you. If it scares you, that's fine. Go get to a point where eventually one day you're going to need something. Here's when we usually need it. You need it when you need it. Unfortunately, this is like insurance. This is one place where you invest your money in that product. When you get done in 9 to 18 to 24 months, it depends how much you want. You can have anywhere between 50 up to, I'm just going to use this. This is, when I say up to, it can go more than that, but this is what I'm going to say up to, so you can swallow it. You can really digest it. Up to $500,000. All right. Now, with that said, up to $500,000 or 50,000, I'm going to use a crazy number. I'm not saying this is what it is, but I'm just telling you, if you paid $5,000 for the course and got 10 times that, how much is that? How much is that, folks? You do that. Fact checkers do that. Times 10, how much is it? Isn't that $50,000, folks? Isn't that $50,000? This is what you end up with, more than when some of you went to school and paid anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 to $200,000 hoping to get the job that you want. I'm not racking you over the coals because I went to Columbia. I'm not racking you over the coals. I'm just letting you know your investment, you made a bad investment if you look at it on paper, not the information. And are you at the job that you really love? Why not take an investment and invest in yourself? That's why I keep telling you, folks, you want to invest in yourself. And maybe you don't like my voice. That's fine. Maybe you don't like my face. I don't know if you can see it tonight because I can't see it myself either. Or maybe you don't like my presentations. But I'm going to tell you, don't listen to all that. Listen to the information. And then go on YouTube, and I promise you, you're not going to find anyone telling you these things. At Corporate Credit Blueprints, we're just straight and we're raw. We're 100. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape your knees across the asphalt, dragging you so you can go ahead and get the corporate credit you're looking for. And I don't mean literally doing it, okay? But I'm just saying, people kick and scream until they start getting their first cards. When they get their first card, all of a sudden, hey, why didn't you tell me this? Well, I've been telling you for the first 90 days, do this and do that. Now, here's one place I was going to tell you we're going to go tonight. I was just going to tell you, you're going to go to the Pilot truck stop gas station. That's where you want to apply. There, they'll go ahead and approve you, even if you're brand new. You just fill out the application. This is what I'm going to tell you. Those of you that have not followed the instructions, which means this: you have your unincorporated sheet. You have your tax ID number done. You have your 411 done. You have your banking account done. You have Dun & Brad done. All right. And then, of course, you're working on your getting your little website done, and a .com or a .y or whatever it is, but not gmail.com. Okay. Not ymail.com, not hotmail.com, not hushmail.com, but YX email, iMail or iemail.org email. There's, again, you can look online. You can find everything out there. One for $1 a year, $1 a year to go ahead and have your name, your name where you can have your own email web address, .com or .org, whatever it is. So you'll have a business email. They will approve you. All right. They will approve you anywhere between $800 a month to $2,000 a month. If you're just off the press and got everything done, I said, you'll still get approved as long as you have that checking account. All right. This is what they do. So that again, I already think is the pilot truck stop. The pilot truck stop. That's the one you want to go ahead and apply to. If you're just brand new or you're not brand new, this is another card you can get. This is another card you can get. The thing is, you must have those things in place. Tax ID, checking account, current. All right. Also, you got to have your 411 and your DUNS number. All right. You need those things. If you have those things, you can go to Pilot Truck Stop, Pilot Truck Stop gas station. Google it, Pilot Truck Stop, and then there's a place for a sign up for the business application. So you can sign up for the fleet card, or you can sign up for the regular gas card, business card, however you wish. Okay, folks, I just want to say good night. I want to say thank you for listening. And most of all, remember this: for those of you who are in the military and your family's in the military, or you have someone in the family that your person that was in the military is no longer here, or the other way around, give us a call. If you're looking to start up your business and you're a veteran or married to a veteran, we're married to a veteran, lost a veteran, or you have your a mother and father or aunt and uncle, whatever it is, or son, daughter, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, give us a call, and what we have a special price for you so you can go and get things started, because we're not here to go. We want to make sure whatever dreams you have that you can fulfill them. Just remember this: the first 90 days, while we're in the military, understand this, it's going to be the grunt work. After that, it begins to sing. So I want to say thank you. We're looking forward to speaking with you. You can give us a call at 888-471-4252, extension 2001, extension 2001. Thank you, bless you, and have a great evening.